Travel back with me to 2012. I remember sitting on the couch, just listening to music. It's what I do to get by through the hard times. I sat there anticipating a phone call. A phone call no one wants to hear. No one wants to get. 10:30 at night, that phone call come through. That phone call I was dreading. It was Dad. They have found him. He screamed them words. I could hear Mum in the background in hysterics, screaming, like I've never heard her scream before. All I could say, all I could reply was, Dad, I'm on my way. I needed my parents, and they needed me at this time. It wasn't too long ago that I'd just seen my brother. I'd driven down just a week earlier to go see him to see how he was. I knew he was in a bit of trouble. So I took him down the local bar. As brothers do, we sit there and we had a beer. I wasn't too sure what he was going to say. I just prayed that it wasn't going to be what I didn't want to hear. I bought him a beer, we sat down, and then he told me he needed some money. And something inside of me at that moment was like there was a relief. My thoughts, this is about money. He just needs money. So I got him the money, brought it back, gave him $1,000. If I gave someone $1,000 or someone gave me $1,000, I'd be quite happy. It wasn't even a smile. A very vague thank you. A very innocent thank you. Clearly it wasn't about money. Dino, what's wrong? Leon, I'm going to kill myself. Now, how would you respond? How would you reply if someone you cared about more than anyone else mumbled them words to you? I didn't know how to reply. Do I take it seriously? You don't hear them words every day. I don't know if I didn't take the words seriously, or I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. At that time, I was uneducated. So my simple reply was, why don't you go see somebody? Sure, Leon, I'll go see somebody. Great, problem solved. Great brother I am. That would be the last time that I'd see my brother, Dino. Fast forward a week from the last time I'd seen Dino. He rang me 7 a.m. in the morning. I looked at my phone and I was in the middle of a conversation at the time that I thought at the time was a little bit more important than answering the phone of my brother. So I hung up on him. I finished my conversation and I tried to ring him back. It went straight to voicemail. The voicemail is a chilly message that I'll never forget, and I remember every single word. Because it's one of the most disappointing things that I've ever done in my life. The words went something like this. Hey bro, I'm so sorry. I've got to go. Look after your family. So frantically, I picked up the phone and I tried to ring Dino back. It went straight to voicemail. I would never speak to him again. He took his life that afternoon. Fast forward a few months. The effects of suicide is massive. It's huge. For every one person that takes their life affects 100 people around them. And I personally think that statistic is being very generous. So I can tell you there's hundreds of more people that got affected in this case. So what do you do? So what do you do when you go through this adversity? This was my point of time. I thought this was the moment in life. I've always lived in the shadow of my big brother. I thought this was the moment in life where it's time that I stand up. I stand up for me, my family, my parents. How does one do such a thing? Well, I needed to take action. I needed to move forward. I didn't say move on, I said move forward. I needed a goal. I needed a direction. I needed a goal with a timeline. And I needed to make that action right now. So what do? I find out what am I good at, what do I love, what's going to get me out of this adversity. I love training, I love bodybuilding. It's what I've been doing for 18 years now. So that was going to be my ticket. So I found the best coach I possibly could. I hired him. I paid a big fee up front. Committed myself to 20 weeks. 20 weeks of grueling prep. 20 weeks of hardcore dieting, training, nutrition. I had to live and breathe it whilst going through this adversity. Going through the blame game. Whose fault was this? Everyone's pointing the finger. I couldn't get involved in that. Because for me to be able to move forward, I needed to focus on the goal ahead. The goal I had chosen. So I get through this prep. Was it easy? It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It was by far the hardest, grueling, mentally tough thing that I've ever had to do in my life. Did I break? Every day. Every day. But I carried on. And I didn't quit. Quitting wasn't an option. There was no contingency plan here. There was no option. I needed to bring the family together. We needed something positive. So I think if I can push through this adversity by having my goal with a timeline, having some direction, let's try to make some positive out of this. So we fast forward 20 weeks and I get to show day. Very emotional day. Super emotional day. Would I be able to get the fairy tale finale that I'm looking for today? On that day? I don't know. But I'd done the work. And I grinded. And I never quit when the days I wanted to quit. I was down and out many, many, many days. I prayed often. At the point when I wasn't even religious, but I needed help from somewhere. So I'm standing backstage. I'm standing backstage there. I'm about to walk on. And then all of a sudden, it's like the heavens above has just said, Leon, you've won. My body just collapsed from under me. My legs had given way. I fell on the ground. Couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't walk. I couldn't believe that I'd got this far and done all this hard work. Hours and hours of training and dieting. And I get 1 minute before working on stage and my whole body shuts down. It was just emotions. It was a feeling and it was emotions I was getting because I didn't quit. And I fought through this adversity. I sit there and I say a little prayer. I say a little prayer to Dino. Dino, one more time. Dino, one more time. I need to get to that stage. I need to win. There's no second prize today. Boom, just like a bolt of lightning. Like a bolt of lightning. Something just zapped through my body. I cannot answer it till this day. I really, truly cannot answer it to this day. But I had goosebumps. All I can say is from the heavens above, something's come down, it's picked me up off the ground, and I've walked on that stage. And I've walked on that stage and I've posed like I've never posed before. At the back end of this event, they called out 4th place. Not me. They called out 3rd place. It's not me. And they called out 2nd place, which meant I won, and my body had just had such emotions going through it like I can't explain. And the feeling of that moment on that stage, winning for my brother and my family and my friends. I was at a fitness expo with 5,000 people. I couldn't contain my emotions. It was the proudest thing to this date that I've ever achieved. It was the hardest time of my life, my family's life. Yet by not quitting, I learned how to overcome adversity. Pushing, 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 not quitting. Self-talk. Getting up on the days that I don't want to get up. Showing up on the days I don't want to show up. But I never did. Never did not show up. I wouldn't have been in that position if I understood a little bit more about suicide, mental illness. Listening to people. People want to be heard. It's the most important thing. My listening skills to these days have never been better. I always got report cards at school that Leon never listens. He's always talking. Well, when you've been through such adversity, like I've gone through, you learn to listen. Because I don't want anyone to go through what my family's gone through. Next time you feel someone is trying to get a message to you, listen. You being that person that's listening to them could be that person that's making the difference. Them just debriefing, offloading themselves to you, could save a life. Dean would ring me every Friday night. Every Friday night. After he'd have a few beers. Because he wanted to talk to his brother. And I didn't. Because I never understood why. Very rarely did I listen to him. It's very simple to listen. It's the easiest thing a human being can do. And listening can save one's life. Listen. Don't quit. The two most cliche things that a human can do. And they're the two things that we all struggle to do. Listen and don't quit.